Assalamu alaikum guys, welcome back to another video. So today in this video we'll be discussing October November 2022 402 mathematics syllabus D paper 1. Let's get right into it. So the first question, I've actually solved all of the questions beforehand so that we can save time and we can quickly hover over them, and I can explain each and every question and each and every part. So, question number 1, work out 80 divided by 0.02. So, what I did was I wrote 80 upon 0.02. Then, I wanted to convert the denominator into a whole number. So, so for it to be a whole number, I have to multiply it by 100, and whatever I introduce in the denominator, I have to do it in the numerator as well to cancel out the effect. So I multiplied 100 over here and 100 over here, which results in this becoming 2 and this becoming 8,000. And when I obviously divided, I got 4,000, and that is your answer. Then the next question says cube root of 10,000. So cube root of 1,000. So in order to find the cube roots, first you need to know that for cube roots you need 3 pairs of 3. Like if you want to find the cube root of, for example, 27, so first I'll break 27 down. 3 9s are 27, 3 times 3 and 3 times 1. So once I've taken the LCM, then I will write 27 as the product of its prime factors, and as you can see it has the perfect 3 factors, so I can take it out, and then this is my answer. So the cube root of 27 is 3. So this is what I did here. I broke down 1000 into 10, 10 and 10, and then since this is the perfect trio, I took 10 common, and this is my answer. So 10 is the answer. So the next question says put one pair of brackets into this calculation to make it correct. So we have to put the bracket somewhere so that this becomes equal to 4. So in order to do that, what I did was, first of all, if I place the bracket here, okay, so it would have been, okay, let's remove this. If I place the bracket here, so it would have been 4 plus 4 8, 8 times 4 32, and 32 minus 4, which is 28, so it won't result in 4. If I put the bracket here, it would be 4 times 4 16, 16 minus 4 12, 12 plus 4 16, so it won't work out either. Now if I place the bracket here, which is 4 minus 4, which is 0, 0 times anything is 0, and 0 plus 4 is equals to 4. So this is where we'll be putting our brackets, which is 4 minus 4. Okay, now moving on to the next question. Work out minus 6 times minus 3 plus 7. So first what you need to do is you need to you need to solve what is inside of the bracket. So minus 3 plus 7, as you know, is 4. Minus 3 plus 7 is 4, and then we'll multiply this 4 with minus 6, which will result in minus 24, which is our answer. Don't forget to write the answers in the answer space as I have done here. Now the next question, write 7.54 as an ordinary number. So first of all, let's understand what's an ordinary number. So what we see over here, which is 7.54 into 10 to into exponent minus 4, is called the standard form. This is the standard form, which is used to represent very large or very small numbers. So now it's telling us to convert it to ordinary form, means the original form, means the original maybe smaller version or the larger number. So how will we figure out if it will be a small if you have to move the decimal to the if you have to move the decimal to the right or to the left? So if the power is negative, then we'll move the decimal to the right, and we'll move that many spaces, which the power will tell us how many places we have to move. So if the power is minus 4, we'll move 1 2 3 and 4 spaces to the left. But if the power was positive 4, we would have moved 1 2 3 and 4, which is 4 spaces to the right. Right now, on to the next question. Sam has 6 square tiles labeled A, B, C, D, and E, and F. So this is A, B, C, D, E, and F, and no, all of these are squares, which means all sides are equal. Now, when Sam places tiles E and F side by side, the resulting rectangle has no lines of symmetry and no rotational symmetry. So what does line of symmetry and rotational symmetry means? Line of symmetry means that an object is split into two equal halves. Oh, I'm sorry. Into the object has split into two equal halves. So this is what lines of symmetry mean. I'm sorry guys if the audio quality is a little bit bad, but I'll be working on it too. So lines of symmetry means equal halves. How many times? Let's imagine a hypothetical figure like a rectangle. So a line of symmetry can pass through here, which means such a line that splits the object in two equal halves. So this half is equal to this half. Why? Because both of them are congruent, both of them are same. So we need to identify how many lines of symmetry an object has when two tiles are placed side by side to make a rectangle that has one line of symmetry. So this is all the game of observation. So if you can see C and D, if I join these two rectangles together, which is like this is the first, oh I'm sorry, if I join these two squares together, it will result in a rectangle. So let's make the two squares. First I'll be making C, and then I'll be making D. So this is C and this is D, which will make one big rectangle, which will be having one line of symmetry. So if you can see, this will shade this, and for D we'll shade this, and we'll shade this. So now if you can see that this is the line of symmetry. What is the line of symmetry? This I know it's a little messy, but I'm trying to make you understand, right? So this is the line of so this is the line of symmetry. This is the line of symmetry. Why? Because it splits it into two equal halves. This will come over here, this shaded region will come over here, and this shaded region will come over here, right? So this is how C and D. Now rotational symmetry of order 2. So if you join two squares A, the two squares A and E together, it will result in a rectangle which has a rotational order of 2. Why? Because see, rotational symmetry of order 2, what does it actually mean? It means how many times will the figure map onto itself. How many times a figure will map onto itself. So if a figure has a rotational symmetry of order 2, okay, I forgot to mention how many times a figure will map onto itself in 360 degrees. So which means one complete rotation, right? From here till here, the whole 360 degrees, how many times will it map onto itself? And since they have told us that it has a rotational symmetry of order 2, which means that it has to map onto itself 2 times in 360, which means 360 upon 2, which is 180. So after 180 degrees, it will map onto itself, and the next 180 it will map one more time, which will result in rotational symmetry of order 2. Now if you see over here, A and E when joined together, well, let's join them. A, which is here, and another box which is shaded, which is here, and then E, which has one wait guys, okay, so E, which has one shaded here and one here. So now as you can see, this is a whole rectangle, and now if you rotate it about this point, So if you rotate it, this will come here, right? So if you rotate it in 360 degrees, it will come on, it will map onto itself two times, which means twice, which means A and E are the correct option, right? So A and E are the correct option. So now let's move on to the next thing. The perimeter of a regular hexagon is equals to the perimeter of a regular octagon. Each edge of the octagon is 9 centimeters. Find the length of one edge of the hexagon. So now what you need to do is, first you need to understand what perimeter means. Perimeter means sum of all outer boundary. So guys, emphasis is on the word outer boundary. Why? Because if you have a figure like this, oh, I'm sorry, it looks kind of weird. Okay, so if you have a figure like this, and you're given lengths of and you're given lengths, let's suppose this, which is 6 centimeter, this which is 6 centimeter, this also which is 6 centimeter, and let's suppose this as 4 centimeter. So 6 centimeter, 6 centimeter, and 4 centimeter. And let's suppose the examiner has also given you this length of 2 centimeter. So, and if he asks you for the perimeter, so the perimeter will be equal to 6 plus 6 and plus 4. Please do not include 2. Why? Because it is not included in the outer boundary. Hence, we will not include 2 in the perimeter. So the perimeter will be 6 plus 4, which is 6 plus 6 is 12. 12 plus 4 is 16 centimeter. It won't be 18, it will be 16. So let's apply the same rule over here. The perimeter of a regular hexagon has 6 sides, is equal to the perimeter of the regular octagon, which has 8 sides. Octagon has 8 sides, hexagon has 6 sides, right? And both are regular, which means all sides are equal. And all angles are equal. So if any regular polygon, if you face any regular polygon, for example a triangle, and they say this triangle is a regular polygon, a regular triangle, which means all of its angles will be equal, right? And all of its sides will also be equal, right? So this is what a regular polygon is. So a regular hexagon will have all of its angles equal and all of its sides equal. So now let's read the question again. The perimeter of a regular hexagon is equal to the perimeter of a regular octagon. Each of the octagon is 9 centimeter long. Each edge of the octagon is 9 centimeter long. So first we took out the perimeter of the octagon, which is 9 times 8, which is 72 centimeter. And now, as I stated, the perimeter of the octagon is equals to the perimeter of the hexagon. So this since hexagon has 6 sides, and as I told you, it is a regular polygon, so all the sides are equal. So x plus x plus x plus x plus x plus x, which will be 6x. So all the sum of all these 6 sides is equals to 72. So 72 upon 6, x is equals to 12. And what is 12? 12 is the length of one edge of the hexagon. Don't forget to write the answer in the answer space. Now, a fairly easy question. Work out 11 upon 15 minus 2 upon 3. So now in this question, what you need to understand is for subtraction or addition or for addition or subtraction of fractions, what you need to know is the bases or the denominators must be same to add or subtract the numerator. You can't just go 11 minus 2 upon this. No, that is wrong. What you need to do is make the denominator same, and we can make the denominator same by multiplying this by 5 and this by 5. So this will result in 15, which will be our common denominator. We'll write it as it is, and then 11 minus 10, which will be 1, and your answer will be 1 upon 15. Now next, work out 3 upon 10 divided by 6. Write your answer as a fraction in its simplest form. So 3 upon 10 divided by 6. So whenever you change a division sign into a multiplication sign, you will reciprocate this. So you'll reciprocate it to 1 upon 6 and 3 upon 60. Now you can't leave your answer as 3 upon 60. Why? Because the examiner has clearly stated that you need to answer as a fraction in its simplest form. So 3 upon 60 is 3 times 1, 3 times 2 and 0, which is 1 upon 20. Don't forget to write the answer in the answer space. Now let's see the other question. In the diagram, AD, AB and BC and B AD, AD, AB and BC are three sides of a regular pentagon. So now this concept repeats again. What does a regular figure means? All sides. Guys, emphasis on this. You need to remember this. Regular means all sides and all angles, and all angles are equal, are literally equal. So for a regular polygon, all sides and all angles are equal. So in the diagram, AD, ABC are three sides of a regular pentagon. A pentagon has 5 sides. So it is a regular pentagon, and DC is the diagonal of the pentagon. This is the diagonal, right? AB is parallel to DC and AB is parallel to DC. Find the value of X. So what is X? If you focus and see what X is, so X actually is an interior angle. What is X? X is an interior angle. And as I said, that each interior angle of a polygon is equal. Hence, we can apply the formula n minus 2 times 180 upon n. And for each interior angle, this is the formula for each interior angle of a regular polygon, and where n stands for the number of sides. And since a pentagon has 5 sides, so what will we be doing? We'll substitute 5 instead of n, and 5 minus 2 times 180 upon 5. 5 minus 2 is 3. 3 times 180 upon 5. And now you can see that 180 times 3 is a little bit difficult to do. So what I did was first divided by 5, which is 5 times 1, 5 times 3 and 6, and then 36 times 3, which will be 108. Keep in mind, you will not be allowed a calculator in paper 1. So your answer is 108 degrees. Now find the value of y. So you might be wondering, y will also be 108 degrees. Why won't y be 108 degrees, right? Y would also be 108 degrees. No. Why? Because this is the whole interior angle, not this. Y is labeled as this region. If they ask for this and this was labeled as y, then sure, we could have written it as 108 degrees. But since y is from this edge to this edge, y will be a different value. Now how will we figure out y? See, how did I figure out that y was 72? So as they clearly mentioned that AB and DC were parallel. What does parallel lines mean? Parallel lines have a property that angle between the parallel lines are supplementary. Angles between the parallel lines are supplementary. So imagine if this was x, this would be 180 minus x. So now if this is 108, so what will be this? This will be 72 degrees. So that's how easy it is, right? So if this was 108 degrees, if this was 108 degrees and these are parallel, so if this is 108, so this will be 72 degrees. Hence we'll get the answer of 72. That's what I did here. No calculators allowed, and make sure you do every subtraction and addition and show all of your working to make a good impression on the examiner. So that is 72 degrees. Now question number 8. ABC is an isosceles triangle. Now what is an isosceles triangle? You might be wondering. An isosceles triangle is that triangle which has two equal sides. So an isosceles triangle has 2 equal sides. So now imagine if this was the triangle ABC, so the 2 equal sides will be AB and BC, and the angles opposite to these sides will also be equal. So if this was x, as I marked here, if this was x, this would also be x. Since these sides are equal, the angles opposite to these sides will also be equal. So ABC is an isosceles triangle with AB is equal to BC, the ratio of ABC. So if there's a cap, which means angle B, so angle ABC, which means angle B upon angle A is 2 upon 5. So if I can rearrange this, can I write it as ABC upon 2 upon 5 times BAC? For sure. And since I marked BAC as X, so I can substitute it here. Yes. So then ABC will be 2 upon 5 times X, right? So now since ABC is now 2 upon 5, 2 upon 5x, and this is x and this is x, and we know that sum of angles in a triangle is 180. So we can just add 2 upon 5x. We can just add 2 upon 5x plus x, and we can equate it to 180. And now, same as I've told you before, we'll first make the basis same, which is 1 times 5 times 5 and 1 times 5 times 5. So this will be 2x plus 5x upon 5 is equals to 180. So 5 plus 2 is 7, 7 plus 5 is 12, which is 12x is equals to 180 times 5. 12x will be 180 times 5 upon 12. X will be 75 degrees. So now we have found x, but remember, this is not the value. We have found x as 75 and 75, but they wanted to find ABC. ABC is not x, ABC is 2/5 of x. So what we'll do is we'll substitute the value of x which we have found, which is 75, which is 5 ones are 5, 5 ones are 5, 2 carry, 5 5s are 25, and 15 times 2 is 30, and your answer will be 30 degrees. Now, by writing each number correct to one significant figure, estimate the value of this. So whenever you face these types of question, as I have marked here, if they have said one significant figure, you will look at the digit one more than that. So if that said two significant figure, I would have looked at this. If that said two significant figure, I would have looked at this. If they had said two significant figure, I would have looked at this. If they would have said two significant figure, I would have looked at this. So now, if they have said one significant figure, I will consider the next letter, the next number, right? This, and this. Now we'll round it off to the next significant figure. So if this number is greater than 5, we'll add 1, and to keep the place value, we'll place 0. So 4 plus 1 is 5, and this will be 54. Since this is also greater than 5, we'll add 1, and to keep the place value, we'll add 0. So 50 plus 40, and since this is greater than 5, so we'll add nothing, and then we'll keep it as 6, and to keep the place value, we'll write it as 60. Then again, we're gonna look at this. This is greater than 5, so we'll add 1 and place 0, keep the place value. Now 60 divided by 20 is 3. 60 divided by 20 is 3, and 50 plus 40 is 90. So 3 ones are 3, 3 threes are 9, and 0. So the answer is 30. Now the next question. Write 420 as a product of its prime factors. So what you need to know is, what do you mean by the product of its prime factors? So whenever they tell you to make, they tell you that you need to find the product of the prime factors, what you need to do is you need to be able to find the LCM. So now what is the LCM? LCM is the least common multiple, right? So the LCM is the least common multiple. So let's say if they told you to find the LCM of 420. So what will you do? So there's some rules of LCM. What you need to do is you need to start with the smallest prime number, right? So the smallest prime number is 2. So 2 ones are 2. So 2 twos are 4. 2 ones are 2, and 0. Then 2 times 105 is 210, and then 2, and then 3 times. So now, since this is not divisible by 2, now I'll be using the next smallest prime number, which is 3, right? So I'll be using 3. So 3 times 3 is 9, and then this is 1 will get carried, and this will be 35, right? So this will be 35. Then again, the next smallest prime number, which is 5, then 5 times 7 is 35, and the next smallest prime number, which is 7, and 7 times 1 is 7. So whenever they tell you to express write 420, for example, any number as a product of its prime factors, you will take out the LCM like I've shown you here. But make sure to use the smallest prime number, smallest prime number, right? So you need to be using this, right? So now let me remove this. So this exactly, I've done exactly this, and I found 2 into 2 times 3 times 5 and times 7. What I've done here is written 2 as 2 squared. So 2 times 2 is actually 2 squared. So I can write 2 times 2 as 2 squared. So this is what I've done. So I've written 2 squared times 3 times 5 and times 7. Now given that 512 is equals to 2 cube into 3 cube, find the HCF of 420 and 1512. So now how do we find HCF? We find HCF, wait guys, so we find HCF by selecting the smaller number. So what do I mean by that? For example, 420, we have written, first we'll write both the numbers as their product of this prime factors. Like 420 as a product of its prime factors is this, 1512 as a product of their prime factors, which they have given us or provided us with, is this. So now what will we do? And now you guys might be wondering, why have I written 1 here? Why? Because we need to keep the place value. So below 5 only 5 can be there, below 3 only 3 can be there, below 2 only 2 can be there, and below 7 only 7 can be there. So if obviously 5 was missing here. So if 5 was missing here, what I did was I wrote 1 to keep the place value. Now how will we do the HCF? We'll select the smaller number. We'll select 2 squared and write it here. Now which is the one smaller, 3 cube or 3? Obviously 3, so we'll write it here. Now is 1 smaller or 5 smaller? 1, so we'll write it here. Is 7 smaller or 7 smaller? Both are same, so we can write them here. So now 2 squared is 4 times 3 times 1 times 7. So 4 times 3 is 12, 12 times 7, which I've done here, is 84, because 7 times 2 is 14, 7 and 7 and 8. So 84 is our answer. Now Azra has a spinner. The sections are colored red, blue, yellow or green. The relative frequency of the spinner. So what is the relative frequency? The relative frequency is the other name of probability. So what is probability? Probability is the chances of occurrence, right? Chances of occurrence. Chances of occurrence. Chances of occurrence. And relative frequency is known as estimating the chances of occurrence. So through relative frequency we estimate the chances of occurrence. So the color red has a relative frequency of 0.15, the blue has a relative frequency of 0.13, yellow 0.2, and now they're telling us to find the relative frequency of the spinner landing on green. So now if you observe, this is given, this is given, this is given, and the only color left is green, and we don't know the relative frequency of green. So what we'll do is we'll add these 0.15 plus 0.3 plus 0.2 to get 0.65, and since the total probability, remember the total probability is always equal to what? 1. Total probability is always equal to 1. So we'll subtract 1 from this total to get 0.35, and this will be our answer. Now Azra spins the spinner 150 times. As I told you, how many times would she expect the spinner to land on blue? So this is relative frequency. Relative frequency is actually the prediction of what will happen. So if she spun the spinner 150 times, how many times will she land on blue? So what we'll do is we'll simply just multiply 150 times 0.3. Why? Because this is the relative frequency of blue, and we'll get 45, which is 150 times 3 upon 10, because we can write 0.3 as 3 upon 10, and we'll get the answer 45. Now represent the inequality -4. My x is greater than equal to -4 and x is less than 2. So how do you read an inequality? You always read the inequality as x between, so imagine if x was between two unknown numbers, let's say a and b. So what do I say? X is between a and b. And now for between we also read the inequality sign. So now how will I read it? X is greater than equal to, x is between -4 and 2, but this statement has ambiguity in it because we don't know if 4 is included or not, if 2 is included or not. So what we'll do is we'll say x is greater than equal to -4 and x is lesser than 2, not equal to. If this has a if the alligator sign has a dash below it, that means that this is included. This we'll read it as equal to, but if there's no dash, that means this is not included. So x is lesser than 2 and x is greater than equal to -4. And to represent an inequality on a number line, what we'll do is we'll shade this. We'll shade this because -4 is included, and since 2 is not included, we'll represent that as an unshaded dot. So this will be the unshaded dot and this will be the shaded dot, and this will be our inequality representation. Now solve the inequality. So what I did was simple. Treat this, I always tell that treat this inequality sign like an equals to sign. So what would you do? 10 minus 9 minus 2n is equals to -5. So 10 minus 3n is equals to -5. 10 plus 5 is equals to 3n. 10 plus 5 is equals to 15 is equals to 3n. Now you have treated this as a equals to sign. So 15 upon 3, n is equals to 5. Now what is the problem? The problem is that in equals to, when you use this as an equals to sign, you will result in not having an inequality. So in inequality, you can just imagine that there is an equal to sign, but just remember one trick. The one trick is that whenever you need to shift a negative number to the whenever you have to shift a negative number by dividing it to the, for example over here, if I had to shift this negative number to the denominator and I had to divide it, so -3n is lesser than 15. So if I had to shift a negative number to the right hand side and I need to divide it, what I'll do is, so what I'll do is I'll do this 15 and -3, but I've made one mistake because I've not changed the sign. So whenever you shift a negative number to the other side of the equation, then the sign of the inequality will change. So this is what I've done. So if the sign of the inequality was this, now the sign of the inequality will be this. The rest will treat it as an equals to. The only difference will be if I shift the negative side. If a negative number is divided to the other side, I'll just shift the sign of inequality, right? Now, question 13. Sophie cycles 2600 meters in 12 minutes. Work out Sophie's average speed in kilometers per hour. So we need to change meters to kilometers and minutes to hours. So 1 kilometer has 1000 meters. So what I'll do is 2600 meters divide by 1000 and we'll get 2.6 kilometer. 2.6 kilometer divided by time. So 1 hour has 16 minutes. So 12 minutes. So 12 minutes we'll divide it by 60, we'll get 1 upon 5. So 2.6 divided by 1 upon 5, and whenever division sign is removed, as I've told before, we'll reciprocate to get this, and your answer will be 13 kilometers per hour. Now you might be wondering, how did I multiply 2.6 by 5? So there is an easy trick for it. Whenever you need to multiply a decimal number, what you'll do is you'll treat it as a normal number. So I'll first multiply 26 by 5. So 26 by 5 is 6 times 5 is 30, 5 2s are 10, 10 and 3 130. So 6 times so this will result in 130. Now I'll count the decimal places from the right. How many decimal places does this have? This has 0 decimal places. This has 1 decimal place. So I'll also shift the answer by 1 decimal place and this will be my new answer, which is 13.0. So this your answer will be 13 kilometers per hour. Now question 14. Since obviously I'm on my iPad, I can't obviously draw the locus, so I've actually given you a rough idea, and this rough idea will, I believe, will be very accurate. So let's see. The scale drawing shows a plot of the scale drawing shows a the scale drawing, I hope it is correct. So the scale drawing shows a plot of land PQRS. So this is a plot of land P, Q, R, and S. So first let me clear the page, right? So this is a plot of land PQRS. The scale is 1 centimeter to 20 meters. So what does this mean? That 1 centimeter represents 20 meters on this map. A path crosses the land. The path is equidistant from SP and SR. So whenever anything is equidistant from two lines, what does this indicate in loci? To make an angle bisector. Remember, make an angle bisector. So we'll be making an angle bisector. And what does a straight edge mean? Straight edge simply means a ruler or a scale, right? The normal centimeter scale that you have, and compass only construct the path. So what you need to do, equidistant from SP and SR. So you need to be making an angle bisector of SP and SR. So what are the steps to make an angle bisector? You place your compass needle here. You will open your compass however much you want. Preferably, please open it a little small, and you will place an arc here. Now you'll place your compass needle here and place an arc here. Now you'll place your compass needle here, and you will place and you'll make an arc here. And now you'll be joining the arcs to make an angle bisector, which will somewhat look like this, right? Next, Priya walks from point P to the path on a bearing of 104. Draw a line to represent Priya's walk, right? So the Priya's walk will be represented by, as you know, bearing is always from the north and always in the clockwise direction. So 104 degrees means 104 degrees, and this is how you'll draw the line, which will meet this right here. And now they're telling you in the next part to find the actual distance from P to where Pia meets the path. So this will be the actual distance, which will be x. Make sure to you will measure this distance in centimeters, but make sure to multiply it by 20 to get the actual distance from P to where Priya meets the path. So now let me show you what I have done. I have done this rough construction, which somewhat looks like this. So what I've done here is constructed the angle bisector by placing an R, by placing my compass here, by placing an arc here, then placing an arc here. By joining this will be my angle bisector. Then on a bearing of 104 degrees, this will be the line, and this is where Priya and the path crosses, and we'll measure this distance, and this distance will be labeled as x, right? I'm also no, this won't be labeled as x. I'm labeling this as x. Why? Because I'm on my iPad, I can't measure the accurate length. So what you'll be doing is you'll place your scale here, and you will measure this length. When you'll measure this length, you will get something in centimeters. You will multiply this by 20, because 1 centimeter represents 20 meter on this scale, and once you will multiply it, you will get the answer, and this will be 20x actually. So this will be 20x, right? Because 1 centimeter to 20 centimeter, right? So this will be your 1 centimeter to 20 meter. So this will be your answer. Now a car is to be built on the plot of land. A car park is to be built on the plot of land. On the scale drawing, the area of the park will be 2 centimeters square. Find the actual area. So 1 centimeter represents 20 meter. So 1 centimeter square represents 20 times 20 meters square. So if 2 centimeters square, it will represent x meter. We'll just cross multiply and we'll get 800. So that's pretty easy. Now let's move to this. This is important. This comes in every single paper. So the diagram shows the points A 0,6, B P, 0, and C P, 6. The equation of the line A, B is already given to us. Find the value of P. So what we'll be doing is we'll substitute the value of x and y, where x is P, and y is 0. So 3 times 0 is 0, and 4p is equals to 18, and p will be 9 upon 2. 9 upon 2 is actually 4.5. Now write down the three inequalities that define the region inside triangle ABC. So we need to write the three inequalities which define this region. So what we'll do first, we'll need to find the equations. So this will be, whenever a line is parallel to the x-axis, its y coordinate will be its equation. So its equation will be y is equals to 6. Now, and this line's equation will be, whenever line is parallel to the y, I think I'll repeat myself. When a line is parallel to the x-axis, its y coordinate is its equation, and when a line is parallel to the y-axis, its x coordinate is its equation. And since we found the value of p, so its x coordinate, which is 4.5, will its be equation. Now how will you define this region? Okay, so I've made one mistake here, right? And we'll look at it, right? So this region will be y is lesser than 6, x is lesser than 5, and 3y plus 4x is greater than equal to 18. So why did I sometimes use, so whenever, so let's revise something, right? Whenever you need to go below the region, that will be greater than, whenever you need to go below, it will be less than, and whenever you need to go above, it will be greater than. Above, greater than. Below, yeah, this. And whenever you need to go to the right side, it will be greater than, and whenever to the left side, it will be less than. So like over here, this is our desired region, right? This is our desired region. So if I need to move to the, for a vertical line, if I needed to move to the right, it would have been x is greater than 4.5, but since I have to move to the left, it will be x is lesser than 4.5, right? So this will be the region. Now this y is equals to 6. Since I've told you here I need to go below, so y will be less than 6, and here if I need to go above, so 3y above means greater. So wait, let me write it over here as well. This means greater, this means greater, this means greater, okay, this also, this means greater, right? Okay, I'm sorry. So this means greater, this means greater, this means greater, and right, all of these mean greater, and this means lesser. So this means lesser. Now look at where the lesser sign moves. Oh, so this is lesser, this is lesser, and this is lesser. So all of these are lesser. So since I need to move above, so it will be greater, right? So 3y plus 4x is greater than equal to 18. So why did I use the sign of equal to? So remember, whenever the line is dotted, we'll use lesser than or greater than. But whenever the line is a straight line or a continuous line, we'll use greater than equal to or lesser than equal to. So I made a mistake here. Since the line was dotted, I should have written y is lesser than 6, y is lesser than 6, and x is lesser than 4.5. But since this is a straight line and no dots, so it will be 3y plus 4x is greater than equal to 18. So now this is done. Now let's move on to the next question. Fairly easy. Question 16. P is the point -2, 1, and Q is the point 6, 13. M is the midpoint of the line PQ. Find the coordinates of M. So in order to find the coordinates of M is the midpoint. You need to know the formula of the midpoint, which is x1 plus x2 divided by 2, and y1 plus y2 divided by 2. So this will be the coordinate, this will be the formula for midpoint. So now, learning this concept, now we'll move on. So move on and find the midpoint, which is, we need to find the midpoint of P and Q, which is x1 plus x2 divided by 2, y1 plus y2 divided by 2. We'll get 2, 7. Fairly easy. Find the gradient of the find the gradient of line PQ. The formula for gradient is y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1. So y2 minus y1, which means I suggest you to label these coordinates as x1 and y1 and x2 and y2, so you don't actually forget. So y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1. So remember, this will be the minus sign of the x1 coordinate, and this will be the minus of the formula, because the formula states y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1. So this will be the sign of the formula, and this will be the sign of the x1 coordinate, and you'll get the gradient 3 upon 2. Now write down the gradient of the line that is perpendicular to the line PQ. So whenever you find the gradient of the line perpendicular, the gradient is always the negative reciprocal. So if this gradient is 2, it will be the gradient of the perpendicular line will be minus 1 upon 2. And now since we found the gradient of line PQ as 3 upon 2, the line PQ's gradient is 3 upon 2. The negative reciprocal of 3 upon 2 is minus 2 upon 3. So this will be our answer. And remember, when the lines are parallel, the gradients are same. So the gradients m1 and m2 will be same. But when the lines are perpendicular, the gradients will be negative reciprocals of each other. Now let's move on to the next question. Fairly easy. Question number 17. I need to simplify this. Whenever the base has a power and the whole thing has another power, what we'll do is we'll take base common and we'll multiply the power. So if the power has another power, we'll just take the base common and just multiply the power. So it will be x to the power of 6. Now look at this. Look over here. T to the power minus 2 is equals to 9. So can I write this as 1 upon 2 square? Yes. And then can t square move over here? Yes. Can 1 upon 9 move over here? Yes. Now in order to move the square, I'll square root both sides. Because why? Because square root has a power of half. So 2 times half will result in 1. So t is equals to 1 upon 9. No, not t is equals to under root of 1 upon 9. And the answer will be 1 upon 3. But you need to add plus minus 3, because whenever a number is square rooted, always add plus minus 1. Please do not forget. Now the next part, 5 to the power of half times 5 to the power of 0 is equals to 5 to the power of k. So another rule of indices that whenever the bases are same, we take base common and add the powers. So what I did was write the square root as half to make it easier for my calculation, and 5 to the power 0. I'll take base common, and what I'll do is 5 half plus 0 is equals to 5 to the power half. And whenever the bases are same, what we'll do is we can equate the powers. So the value of k will be half. What I could have done another approach I could have done is I could have just written 5 to the power half times 5 to the power of 0 is equals to 5 to the power k. And since you know anything raised to the power of 0 is 1, so this would have resulted in this, and anything multiplied by 1 is the number itself. I could have equated it and I could have got the value of k. So this was an alternative approach. Alternative approach, right? So this would be our alternative approach. Now next, x is directly proportional to the x is directly proportional to the square of y plus 1. So what does this mean? X is directly proportional. Whenever they tell you directly proportional, you will always use this symbol, right? This symbol, right? So x is directly proportional to y plus 1 squared. When y is 2, x is 45. Whenever they tell you this information, they want you to find the value of k. So what I did was substituted y is equals to 2 and x is equals to 45 and found the value of k. And the value of k will be 5. Now I wrote the equation x is equals to 5, y plus 1, the whole thing squared. So now find the value of x when y is 4. I substituted y as 4, 4 plus 1 is 5, 5 because 5 squared is 25, 25 times 5 is 125. So the value of x will be 125. Now the next question, fairly easy, solve this. So in order to solve this, first, as I have repeatedly told you throughout this video, you need to make the bases same. You need to make the base same. So what will you do to make the base same? You will take the LCM of the denominator, the common multiple. The common multiple of this base was 24, and whatever you multiply it to the numerator, I need to multiply it to the denominator to cancel out the effect of introduction. So what I did was multiply the numerator and denominator with the number. So 4 times 3x minus 1 plus 6 times x plus 2 is 24. So 12x minus 4 plus 6x plus 12 upon upon 24 is 5 upon 3, and 12 plus 6 is 18. 18 plus 8 is equals to 5 upon 3, and hence x will be 16 upon 9 if you go throughout the calculation. So this was fairly easy, but you need to just remember that you need to whenever adding or subtracting, you need to make the basis same. Now the next question number 20. So this is a question of statistics. Statistics is that topic which is frequently tested, so you need to be making sure that you are well prepared for it. The table shows some information about the times each of 100 children spend reading in one day. So these are the times the children spent on the day, and these are the number of children's the number of children, right? So these are the number of children, and this is the frequency density. So what is the frequency density? Frequency density's formula is frequency divided by class width, as I've written over here. So now that they're telling you to find the value of x. So how will you find the value of x? So they've given you the frequency density, they've given you the frequency, so you'll just apply the formula. Frequency density is frequency upon class width. So frequency density is 1.6 as mentioned in the question, and frequency is 32 divided by 1.6 is 20. But make sure you see that 20 is our class width, not the value of x. So class width means the width of the class. So the width of the class is 20, which means 30 minus 20, which will be 10. 10 is our actual value of x, because 10 minus 30 will result 30 minus 10 will result in 20, which will be our class width. So x is 10. Now on the grid, draw a histogram to represent the data for the 100 children. So what you will be doing is you will make the histogram, which is remember, in a histogram there are no spaces, right? So in a histogram there are no spaces. What you'll be doing is just constructing the histogram, and this will be fairly easy. What I did was 10 till 30. Remember, you will be plotting the frequency densities. So from 10 till 30, 10 till 30, then 30 till 40, then 40 to 45, and then 45 to 60. You will make the histogram. Now question 21, find f inverse of x. Remember, whenever you need to find f inverse of x, there are a set of rules. You need to replace f of x by y, then you need to make x the subject of the formula, then you need to replace x by f inverse of x, and make and replace y by x. So let's do it. There's no need to be scared of it, right? So what did I tell you? Step 1, replace f of x by y. So y is equals to 1 plus 3 upon 2x, right? So replace f of x by y. Now make x the subject of the formula. So replace f of x by y, make x the subject of the formula. So in order to make x the subject of the formula, y minus 1 is equals to 3 upon 2x. 2y minus 2 is equals to 3x. 2y minus 2 upon 3 is equals to x. Step 2 is, so step 1 was replace. I'm repeating myself constantly so that you remember. So I replace f of x by y, right? Make x the subject of the formula, right? Then replace x by f inverse of x. Step 3, which is replace f of x, replace x by f inverse of x and y by x. So that will be 2x minus 2 divided by 3. So this will be your answer, which is 2x minus 2 divided by 3. Now they're telling you to solve g of x is equals to f of minus 4, which means substitute minus 4 instead of x. So I recommend to first solve f of minus 4, which is 1 plus 3 times minus 4 upon 2, which is minus 5. When you solve it, you get minus 5, because minus 4 times 3 is 12. 12 upon 2 is 6, and minus 6 plus 1 is minus 5, right? So you'll equate this is equals to minus 5. You'll just multiply it there, and you'll get x is equals to 7 upon 5. Moving on into the next question, factorize this. Fairly easy. You just need to remember the property that a squared minus b squared can be represented as a plus b, a minus b. So what does this mean? That when these two factors are multiplied, so factorize means break them down into factors. So whenever the break them down to factors. So when So when these two factors are multiplied together, they will result in this, right? So I applied the property a square minus b square is a plus b, a minus b, and if you want to check, you can multiply them, and this will result in 9p minus q square. So yeah, now the next is also factorized. You'll just take common, which will be a minus 3b, and you'll take just one common here and a minus 3b. These will be c plus 1 and a minus 3b will be your factors. Don't forget to write the answer in the answer space. Question 23. Adam and Ben by so this is the matrices question. Matrices is mostly easy, so I hope you get through this as soon as possible. Adam and Ben buy tickets for the cinema and the theater. Adam buys 5 cinema tickets and 4 theater tickets. Ben buys 7 cinema tickets and 9 theater tickets. Complete the matrix X to represent this information, right? So what you'll be doing is you'll just write for Adam, he bought 5 cinema tickets. You'll write 5, and Adam bought 4 theater tickets, so you'll just write 4 here. Ben bought 7 cinema tickets, so 7 here, and Ben bought 9 theater tickets, so 9 here. Fairly easy, 1 mark secured, right? Now cinema tickets cost $11 each and theater tickets cost $30 each. Matrix Y represents this information. P is equals to xy. Find the matrix of matrix P. So what does this mean? Multiply x with y. So x is 5, 4, 7, 9. So you'll just multiply this with this. So now matrix multiplication is what most students find hard, but it is actually quite easy. What you'll be doing is multiply the first row with the first column, and then multiply by the second row with the first column again. So 5 times 5 times 11 plus 4 times 30. Then change the row, 7 times 11 plus 9 times 30, and you'll get 170 and 374, which will be your matrix P. Now what does the matrix P represent? What do the elements in matrix P represent? They represent the total cost of the tickets for both Adam and Ben. Fairly easy. Question number 24. This is what I think most students will find difficult, so let me explain it to you. First, you need to know that quadrants. There are 4 quadrants. This is quadrant 1, this is quadrant 2, this is quadrant 3, and this is quadrant 4. In the quadrant 1, all signs, all trigonometric ratios, which include sine, tan, and cos, are positive, right? Sine, cos, and tan are positive. In the second quadrant, only sine is positive, right? In the third quadrant, only tan is positive, and in the fourth quadrant, only cos is positive. The rest are goes without saying negative. So sine x is equal to sine 50. So what does this mean? This means that since sine over here and sine over here, so this quadrant represents the angle between. So this quadrant represents the angle between. First quadrant represents the angle between 0 and 90, and the second quadrant represents the angle between 90 and 180 degrees. So since the first quadrant has sine positive, and the second quadrant also has sine positive, which means that theta over here and 180 minus theta over here will be equal. So now let me make you understand what this means. So if sine 50 in the first quadrant, since 50 is between 0 and 90, so sine 50 over here will be equal to, sine 50 is instead of theta, so sine 50 will be equal to sine 180 minus 50, which 180 minus 50, which is sine 130. So both of these will be equal, and the value of x will be 130 degrees. So this was quite a bit challenging for some students, so I hope you understood it. Now the next question, simplify this. So what I'd recommend is first factorize the denominator. The denominator is the term below and the numerator is the term above. So first factorize means, as I am telling it again, factorize means to break into factors. So first break the denominator into its factors. Once you have broken them down into their factors, then then I've broken them down into their factors by middle term breaking. Once you have broken them down into their factors, you will replace the denominator with these factors and the numerator as it is. Now you will see that x minus 4 and x minus 4 cancel out each other, and the answer you left with is x divided by x plus 3. So this will be your answer. Now the next question, question 26, a good question of vectors, right? Vectors. Now what you need to understand is OAC is a triangle. B is a point on AC such that AB is to BC is 3:2. So what I recommend is to first write AB and BC, write ratios as this. So AB upon BC is 3/2. So write this as this. Write this as this, so that comprehension is a little bit easier for you. Find OC in terms of A and B, giving your answer in its simplest form. So you need to find OC. So in order to find OC, you need to know OA and AC, right? So OC is equal to OA plus AC, right? So you already know OA, it is already given A, but you need to find AC. So how will you find AC? First find AB. AB will be minus A plus B. Why? Because you're going in the opposite direction of A, so A will be minus and this will be positive. So minus A plus B, so AB is B minus A. And since this is 3 and this is 2, hence this is 3/5 of AC and this is 2/5 of AC. So, and we have found AB as B minus A, so 3/5 of AC is B minus A. AC will be equal to this. AC will be equal to this. I simply just multiplied this over there, which will become 5b minus 5a and 5/3b minus 5/3a. Since we found AC, what we'll do is OC is OA plus AC. OA is A, AC is what we have found here. I'll simplify this and this will be our OC, right? Now D is a point on OC such that OD is, so D is a point here on OC such that OD is B minus 2/5a. Show that OAPD is a trapezium. So, okay, so now what a trapezium has a property: two sides are parallel and the other two sides are not parallel. So you can clearly see that by observation that this side and this side are parallel, and whenever the vectors are parallel, remember, whenever the vectors are parallel, whenever the vectors are parallel, they are in the same ratio, right? So whenever the vectors are parallel, they are in the same ratio. What do I mean by that? I mean by that the vectors, like if suppose a vector was A, if a vector is parallel to it would be 5a. So the vectors will be in the same ratio, right? So the vectors will be in the same ratio. So now let's do the question, because the trapezium has two parallel and other two sides are not parallel, and by observation you can see that this side and this side are parallel. So what you'll do is you'll just simply first find DB. First you'll find DB, and DB will be BO plus OD. BO will be as you're going in the direction opposite to OB, so it will be minus B plus B minus 2/5a. B and B will be cancelled out and you will be left with minus 2/5a. B will be minus 2/5a and DB will be 2/5a. We'll just simply multiply these vectors. Since they are parallel vectors, they will be in the same ratio, and I was correct, 2/5, right? Because they're in the same ratio, so we got this ratio, and this proved that OA and DB are parallel. Hence this is a trapezium. Hence this is a trapezium. So this is solved. November 2022, 402412 October November 2022. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll be seeing you guys in more videos. Till then, take care. Allah Hafiz.